This video is going into a little bit more detail, so let's get right to it. Whatever is evident to me is Atma, truth. If distortion isn't superimposing itself over it. Example time. Booking a flight. Someone is sitting in your seat and you tell them that this is your seat. Ever had that? Having that prime window seat. Just to get there and someone is trying their luck by sitting in your seat. Let's break this down. In actuality, it is the airline seat. After the flight, you will leave the seat there. You're not going to pack up the seat and take that with you. That piece of airplane is yours. And the same goes for this body. It is borrowed. And was it not for consciousness, it wouldn't be alive. It would be a corpse. It is animated by consciousness. So, how do things become evident to me? Through your sense organs? What is Atma? What is evident? Me, truthfully. What you really are, however, is not Atma. That's just the channel. The mind is really confused now, and that's okay. We're shaking the mind machine. We're really going into its algorithms here. So those conditioned and homogenized algorithms is being challenged. Allow that to be so. So it is not about changing the language or avoiding or disregarding me. There is nothing wrong with stomach pain or headache or hunger. Knowing that it is temporarily in nature and that you are not only that is the key. The key here to discern the misunderstanding. This is what non-duality offers. Not to disregard this body, this mind, this ego, but to understand the truth in this instead of blindly carrying on with these beliefs that you agreed upon with a limited amount of knowledge and an enormous amount of information. Because the discernment versus truth and non-truth detaches suffering. Notice in deep sleep that none of it is there. There's no stomach pain, there's no body, there's no world, which means it has a temporary value. It's just important to realize it as such. Contemplation takes knowledge and turns it into understanding. So if I'm asking you to contemplate something, I'm not asking you to think about it. Because the mind is going to go back into its database, back into the memory of what it has experienced before, and it's going to try to convince you to stay within that realm because there it can be of service. And if it cannot comprehend something, It's going to convince you that whatever it cannot comprehend, stay away from that. So contemplation is beyond the mind. It's a sitting, acknowledging, and feeling into the knowing. You know, but you don't know how you know. This is a way to use the brain and the mind appropriately. Because the way we have been taught to use the brain and the mind has not been appropriate. It's not the truth. Overtaxing the mind, making the mind the master, and superimposing, you should know what comes next. You should predict what comes next. What do I do? Do I make choices? What choices am I going to make? That keeps you stuck into the construct, activity, and agreeing to believe that the mind is at the top of the pyramid. Meaning the identification with mind, I am mind. I am mind controlling this body, controlling this world, controlling the outcome, controlling the circumstances. And when control is lacking, then we get upset. We get upset because the mind is not being of service. So the buddhi, which is the Sanskrit word for intellect. The buddhi is the mind, the aspect of the mind of intelligence. So food supplies the food essence, which is body, with fuel. We need food for this body. Just like your car needs fuel to move. It sustains itself and it is strong. But that is no identification of the mind being strong. Get this. All your likes will blind you. It is not your dislikes that blinds you and binds you. Your likes are attractions, and they become your bondage, if not realized as temporarily. Because when you were younger, maybe you loved ballet. Maybe you loved building sandcastles. Your likes change. They are not eternal. So as you recognize and realize that your likes and attractions are just momentarily, then from that realization, you won't be bound to that. That which you refers to as likes and dislikes happens in the buddhi, in the mind. It is the mind's opinion. And that is fed through this object of experience, body. Example, I like pizza. It is a mental process. But your palate, your taste buds, tells you that it is a likable taste. Notice the interaction. I am not within the bounds of my dharma, the righteousness or the right to do, the artha, the wealth, to have security, the kamma, the desire, and the right desire according to Dharma, or moksha, liberation, to be free from it all. These are the 4 Purusarthas. I might be pronouncing this incorrectly, I apologize. All living human beings have the urge to look for these 4 things. It is your right to look for it. It is your right to look for satisfying these things. But notice it's an illusion. We don't know when this happens, else it wouldn't be an illusion. We don't know we are delusional. Delusion is also part of our lives. Through the delusion comes the pride, and that leads to jealousy, judgment, and all the other attributes. It appears through the mind. And when something appears, we say, I am. And we identify as that which appears. See, that's the part. You can notice that it's appearing without attaching your identity and constructing you as being that. Because anything that you identify with will be limiting your true nature. The goal or the aim of life is thus not to seek liberation or attain it, but to be able to know the temporary as temporary. To be able to distinct between the eternal and what is temporary. Pure consciousness is untouched and boundless and boundaryless. It cannot be objectified. So language fails here every single time. When we say we are purifying, strengthening, or expanding consciousness, there is a level of bogus to that. You are referring to the consciousness that exists in the body and the mind. Pure consciousness is untouched, it's boundless. Let me tell you a story. This will create maybe a deeper understanding of what I'm saying. The donkey is bound to a tree. When its owners goes down to the river to wash their clothes, the donkey carries the clothes, and the donkey is always tied to a tree while they wash the clothes so it doesn't wander off. One day they forget to bring the rope, and the one guy says to the other, just play, just imaginary, tie the donkey to the tree. It won't even know the difference. And the donkey stayed there. When they were ready to leave, the donkey did not move. And the other person informed him, you didn't untie the donkey from the tree. And he's like, but there's no rope around him. He's like, the donkey doesn't know that. So imaginary, he unhooked and unraveled the rope from the tree, and then the donkey moves. Just like that, we are imagining we are bound by our likes and our dislikes. playing the carrot and stick game. Being rewarded, oh, you get a carrot. Being pushed away or disliked, oh, you get a stick. This is the construct of society, pushing you towards rewards, striving, looking, seeking rewards all the time, reward payoffs, and avoiding pain, avoiding dislikes. Stay away. So, when we are bound by our likes and our dislikes, we imagine that we are bound by our desires, envy, hatred, guilt, shame. Nothing is bounding us except our identity, an identification process with the body and the mind. You are that completeness that you are seeking for. Not the completeness appearing in the mind. It's like the dog chasing its own tail. Round and round and round and round it goes, never catching it. Once it stops and relaxes, it notices that its tail that it has been chasing is a part of him. Coming back to the saying, you are that what you are seeking for. Not recognizing and realizing that part. Namaste.